Again, I think I should, on the same subject, I would like to tell you that after my American tour, I went to Canada. And there is a completely different atmosphere than that of America. The Canadian people, because they are placed next door to a very great world power, try to maintain their own identity independently. And they do it very strongly. They are far more courteous, far more humble, and amenable to advices than Americans. Even the best among the Americans could be declared, could be assessed. I think the Americans are far too much occupied with a sense of superiority, and they need not to listen to advices from outside. The Canadians are open-minded. They're free. They want to retain this entity of openness, and they're taking every possible measure, legal or otherwise, to encourage openness of the society to every member, every entity, every group of the society. That is why they are extremely cautious in even making legislative changes which would embrace all the ethnic groups equally and make them equal partners of the society. Italians, more than the English, I should say, Norwegians, and all other European countries are represented, in fact, in small groups. Canada offers a society in which all the ethnic groups join hands, particularly the Western ethnic groups, join hands to make one single bouquet of flowers, which have the equal right to be in that vase. None of them seems to be an outsider, an alien. As a whole, all this collection of flowers make one bouquet placed in one vase. This is the impression which I think every visitor receives from the attitudes, political attitudes of the Canadians. But at the same time, there is a national divide between the English-speaking and the French-speaking. The French-speaking, who happen to be on the east of Canada, starting from Quebec, that's right, Quebec onwards, they always take pride in their language, and they think their nationality within Canadian nationality is separately carved. So other entities or smaller nationalities which I spoke of, French, not the French, but German, Spanish, Italian, Norwegian, and Scottish, English, and many other small groups. Greek, yes, very much so. They are all ethnic groups which make the whole of America, the whole of Canada as a whole. So they are a very important factor in bridging the differences between the English-speaking and the French-speaking. So they happen to be in the middle, and they have no prejudices. I have not noticed any prejudice of the Greek against the Italian or the Italian against the Greek. They know that their survival depends on their unity. So Pakistanis, particularly the Ahmadis, are welcome by this group, and they are also made a part. and as a whole they create a very healthy influence on the lifestyle of Canadians. So I believe because they are also well treated by the political mind of Canada, to the extent that they can rise to any position, becoming ministers, central ministers, etc., etc. So I think this aspect of Canadian policy of bringing all its citizens into one single whole, particularly by paying respect to small foreign groups who have become Canadian but who also retain their languages. They must continue to serve the cause of uniting factor between the English and the French. This policy, I think, is already working, and it's a very healthy policy which they must continue. So because of this, maybe they're open to advice. They listen to anybody and everybody, and they make their own decisions. They don't think that for them it is essential to follow America. In world relationship, they have independent policies. In their economy, they have independent policy. So I believe Canada is going to become greater with the passage of time, because during the last some decades, the industrial and scientific and technical growth has gone by leaps and bounds. And what I noticed in Canada today was a great advancement in science and technology and the economic system, etc. So I personally have a great hope of Canada, inshallah. So if America does not listen to common sense and reason, I'm afraid America would suffer. It would suffer internally as well as by some world events which are bound to be created as a reaction to this attitude. So I do hope Americans would take advice, and I do hope that the Canadians will continue on the same line of healthy human development, which be of great beneficence to other smaller countries as well. Thank you. Now, I think Arabs also must be mentioned because they make a very important minority of Canada. They're spread all over, in both the French-speaking and the English-speaking regions. And many of the Arabs speak French, naturally because it's spoken in their countries. Many of the Arabs speak English, which they learn in America and in Canada, and they speak well. So the Arabs are also given almost equal share, but for that reservation which the Western people have against Islam. I have noticed that they are not treated as equally as, for instance, the Italians and Greeks are. For one thing, their number is much smaller than that of the Greeks and the Italians. For another thing is the presence of some extremists among them, which is very detrimental for the cause of the Arab nationals of Canada. So I think this must be attended to. Somehow, this tendency of extremism and recourse to weapons, etc., in the name of holy war, must be completely wiped out, or the Muslims will not get their share of equality among a people where equality becomes the rule of the day, where equality is practiced really almost entirely, like in Canada it is. So the only hindrance is because of their own past traditions or past allegations against them. So I don't believe there are some small, strongly orthodox fundamentalists in Canada, but some are reported. And it is these small elements of orthodoxy and recourse to coercion and weapons which is creating problems for the Arabs in general in Canada. Among the Indians, there are two separate groups of India treated on their own as if they belong to different nationality. One, the first group is that of Hindus. They come from India, from all over, and they make one Indian entity. And the others were Sikhs from the Punjab. Although all of them do not claim Khalistan or one country for Sikhs in India, particularly in the Punjab, but they're not dominant. Many Sikhs, there are some of course who do that, but many Sikhs do not care. But because of some Sikhs' strong attitude of demanding a different independent state within India, they are treated separately from the Hindus. Hindus are one type of Indians and the Sikhs are the other types of Indians. But I must say that much for Sikhs, that they are very industrious people. They work very hard, and wherever they go and live in larger numbers, they support each other in economy. The result is that the Sikh community in Canada is economically very healthy and mostly rich people. Some of them have begun to shave their beards, but most Sikhs in Canada still retain their beards and all their style. So Arabs, Sikhs and Indians, I think I haven't left out any others, have I? Yes.